TSM gave an interview where he said that he was being kind of forced to play a playstyle he didn't agree with. And it's really unfortunate that it continues to happen where it seems like TSM are not happy with their junglers and their junglers are not happy with TSM. But Spica is back, and from what I heard, you know, they want to play with him. They're excited to play with him. They think he is a good fit, and maybe the first game is a bad showing, and the improvement's going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can expect TSM's first game to be representative of their level throughout the entire year. There is obviously an incredible amount of talent on this team. You know, last time Doublelift and Bjergsen were teamed up, they were winning a lot of championships together. Yes, that was a couple years ago, but Doublelift also, you know, winning a lot on Team Liquid. So there are high expectations now that they are reunited again here on TSM. And we will see, you know, can they actually mesh as a squad and develop as they need to? I do think one of the big concerns for TSM, though, is how important the jungle role is right now. And you have a completely unproven jungler in Spica, right? You know, people are talking about jungle as the most powerful role in the game right now. And
yeah,
we've been seeing, you know, very clearly in some of these other games. You look at, you know, Svenskaren's games, look at Blabber's games, you know, they are running over the competition. You can get to a situation where the game is completely revolving around the jungler and it invades and these sorts of plays. So you need to have a confident jungler. You need to have a jungler performing at a very high level, and that puts an incredible amount of pressure on Spica, especially on TSM, where there's already so much attention on that jungle role. As you say, there's always talk about TSM jungle. There's kind of this revolving door there. It's like the defense against Stark Arcs feature, you know, of League of Legends. There's always a new jungler. There's always the same issues with the jungler, it seems. There's always the discussion about them being made into a ward of this defensive player. So Spica is battling against all of that without really having much competitive experience.
Absolutely, and that's difficult. You need a player. I like that the instant Kane hover for Spica, and he's like, nah, I'm on Trundle, dude, he's fine. I don't need to gank in this champion, although you probably should a little bit. The gank's actually pretty solid there. But yeah, you, to your earlier point, want a jungler like Blabber who ganks top and then takes the entire wave in a plate before recalling. As the top lane is recalling in front of him, he's like, yeah, don't worry, I'll take this 250 gold, enjoy your lane afterwards. And that's the playstyle, right? It's get ahead, be the force that change things around, and it's rewarded right now, especially in the types of jungles being played and even the game state that we're in, where, you know, late game farming is more important. You kind of are a bigger factor in your team fights than before. Dignitas going to lock in a Sett for themselves. Viper can do pretty well on that one, but we know it can also flex to jungle and support.
Definitely possible. I wouldn't think it would be support paired with the Ezreal. Those two feel kind of like on very opposite ends of the spectrum. So, you know, I'm expecting it to be going up to Viper. We haven't been seeing a lot of Sett jungle lately. And yeah, it's going to be Enchanter paired alongside that Ezreal. That seems to be what is kind of really popular these days, is Ezreal Karma, Ezreal Yuumi, Ezreal Lulu, all these sorts of kind of pokey lanes. People are feeling are working pretty well, and you know, people have kind of, I think, gotten more comfortable playing those enchanters to a level where they're not feeling like they're just going to get ganked and die, because that was always kind of the logic for playing tanks down in that bot lane, is saying, oh no, you can't play an enchanter because you'll just get camped and lose, right? And that doesn't seem to be what is actually happening in a lot of these games. They will be going up against MF Yuumi. That is a very, very strong bottom lane. It does have the ability to really kind of poke you out and run that lane. So I do think that, you know, the Ezreal Lulu bot lane is going to be on the back foot early on here pretty heavily, unless they can really start landing a lot of those mystic shots.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm favoring the TSM side unless, again, Johnsun and Afro really do land some good poke, and even, you know, just Lulu poke is not enough. Yuumi obviously deals that very easily, so I'm expecting TSM to look good down on the bottom side. So especially with the pedigree of players like Doublelift and Biofrost, that's going to feel pretty favored. In general, I like Trundle a whole lot in the jungle with the Graves ban. It's a very easy one to just post up and feel good about. You're seeing the Lee Sin ban come through as well, probably some more jungle bans going to come through on the TSM side.
I'd like to see a Kindred ban. I do think that Kindred can work well into Trundle for similar reasons to Graves. You can actually use your Q to just hop right over the pillar, and sometimes even use that against the Trundle as a result. That is a pretty good matchup. There's not really a lot of stats to actually steal from that Kindred either, so TSM is going to intelligently ban that out. Those marksman junglers can be very, very difficult for the troll. There is still stuff like Olaf you can go, which can be pretty aggressive, but you know, it can be pretty rough when you get Trundle ulted and then you ult. You can become so squishy that you can just get focused down, you know, in those early levels. There are AP junglers, things like Gragas at least, that he could go towards, so we'll have to see exactly where Akaadian wants to take us, but you know, with Sett, with Ezreal, they do have the ability to go towards one of those AP junglers pretty easily.
Alright, well, Aatrox going to be locked in here as a top lane as the expected matchups into that Sett up there. Yes, it's flexible. We've even seen Sett mid before, but 9 times out of 10, it's up there on the top lane for Viper. And Broken Blade is going to go back onto Aatrox. I believe it's 2 games in a row for him to continue to try to win that sort of matchup. There's the Olaf Hover, definitely another high-priced champion. Akaadian, though, thinking about other possible carries, and not going to go for that one, but instead the Nidalee. It's going to add some magic damage to the lineup, which Dignitas does not have a lot of right now. But as the Orianna comes in, of course, yes, they have that big mage, and it's going to mean they've got quite a lot of poke here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in Nidalee, was kind of expecting an AP jungler. This is obviously another option there. Nidalee also very strong, I think, in this current meta of power farming junglers. Again, you don't want to just be power farming your side of the map. You want to be getting in your opponent's face, power farming their jungle too. Nidalee has one of the fastest clears of any jungler in the game, and does have the ability to, always be able to get in and out of their opponent's jungle, utilizing the pounce, jumping over the dragon wall, jumping over the rift herald wall to move in and out in these situations where Trundle can't really track her. So if Akaadian can get rolling, you could really see him look to take over that jungle. He should have the advantage in the 1v1. He should have the advantage in the clear speed, and that's going to mean there's a lot of reliance on him to kind of get things done. TSM going to be going with Corki for their last pick here in the mid lane. Much more of a kind of a slow scaling style of pick. We have seen Corki, work out very, very well with Yuumi as that combo. Jizuke and Zazel kind of gathered up in their first game to really, really look good there against 100 Thieves, I do believe it was. So that's a situation where we could see TSM looking to kind of utilize this MF Yuumi combo to get ahead in that bottom lane early on, then see Biofrost moving and really kind of gathering up with Bjergsen to utilize that combo more going into towards the later and mid stages of the game.
Yeah. TSM comp looks pretty good overall. They've got a good, well-rounded, set of champions who can do a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like Dignitas are in kind of a similar situation where I think their comp looks pretty good overall as well, although certainly my eyes are on what the Nidalee can do, because that is, though she's not actually very uncommon in the Summer Split metagame around the world, she is still a very high variance champion. If she doesn't have gold, she doesn't provide very much. She's almost purely a damage champ. Like, you compare to mages like Gragas or Karthus that used to be popular AP junglers, like, well, even if you're behind on Gragas, you've still got all the Predator ganks for the early game. You've still got the explosive cast for big stuff. And, I mean, Karthus, even if you get one shot, at least turns on, Defile while dead and at least gets something out there. Nidalee is, or at least can be, very feast or famine. And to, I like Akaadian a lot as a player. I'm hoping it's a feast for his sake because, I think he's very, very good. And I want to see how that plays out. On the other side, right, Spica's on Trundle. It is very hard to screw up on Trundle, even if you are behind. You ult a tank, I guess the opposing Sett in this case, and you take some stats back, and it's going to be pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, you throw down pillar, you ult someone, you're doing okay, right? You can also kind of build in support itemization. The one caveat I will go is that you can do builds on Nidalee like Runic Echoes into an Athene's, and you can actually do kind of more of a supportive style of build. They do obviously have a lot of shielding already with the Lulu and the Orianna, so if your Ezreal is having a really good game, you can be spamming heals with the Athenes as Nidalee onto this Ezreal, giving attack speed there. He's getting double shielded from this Lulu Orianna combo. And all of a sudden, the Ezreal can become so damn hard to actually knock down. It's already a very difficult champion to deal with at times. That being said, Ezreal not really that kind of traditional hyper-scaling champion that you really think of having all these kind of supports in the pocket of. So we'll have to see, I think, a pretty damn good game out of Johnsun to really make this work.
Yeah, we had a ton of 80 carry bans, right? Kalista and Aphelios were gone off the bat right away. The Varus gone as well, so... Yeah, Ezreal highly prized, but you're right, not one of those hyper carry champions that you typically see all the buffs go onto. So we'll have to wait to see what comes out of that one. Still can do very well, as you mentioned. If Johnsun has a good game, he's worth supporting. Has been a decent player overall, and it's going to be the pretty standard spread game start here. Sweepers for both the junglers, but no wards killed. You're going to see that despite the sweeper being used, Akaadian doesn't get anything out of it.
Yep, he was looking up towards that top side for a Pixel Brush ward, perhaps not able to find
Oh, no,
that.
I think he... Sorry, I should fix what I said. I believe he actually bought a ward, dropped one, then recalled and switched. So that's just me being silly. There's the sweep that's going to get some gold over. And Spica, don't steal the 10 gold. You get the 10 gold for sweeping. Let someone else last hit it. Come on, man. It's a really minor thing, but it's objectively wrong.
Yeah, a little bit silly there. Maybe he didn't even mean to meant to cancel his auto. Who knows? But either way, we will see how he's going to be able to go from here. And you're right, of course, the sweeper is off cooldown, so he did ward and then swap to the sweeper. Also worth noting that Froggen is actually playing Phase Rush, which I always love to see against Trundle in particular. You know, Trundle plus Corki, it's not exactly the most threatening of the gank combos. They're very reliant on that pillar, and the pillar's slow. And when you can proc Phase Rush, not only do you get the move speed increase, but a lot of people sometimes forget about, you know, the kind of slow resistance, right? So, you know, it's going to make it so you can just easily walk out of a lot of those ganks unless you get completely burst out.
Gotta point out that there's Relic Shield for both Enchanter supports down here. They're not expecting to get a ton of poke down, so they're just gonna get the reliable gold income. Big trade for Broken Blade, right? Helped kill the ward, gets level 2 on the first wave, goes in right away. Viper can never fight back. Finally now has some more abilities learned up, but that is a very, very good first trade. Viper gonna rely on his passive health regen, and the Doran's Blade not gonna check the potion, but Broken Blade going for yet another big trade, right? 2 Qs and an auto attack, good enough for him.
Yeah, just to talk about the support itemization a little bit, because you know, I have been seeing people kind of ask, well, why are they going this, right? You know, why instead of Spell Thieves? How do you know which one to buy? And the way I look at it is kind of similar to, you take Relic Shield now in situations where coin would have been good before, where it is more defensive. It is either too risky to poke, or you cannot consistently get that poke off to keep your Spell Thieves on cooldown the whole time. The gold generation just isn't worthwhile, right? So you then want to go for the Relic Shield. And, you know, there's still situations where that Spell Thieves is very, very good against, you know, lower threat melee supports, for example. Things like Braum, it's very easy to actually, you know, proc that, stack that, Tom's Kench, and so on and so forth. But champions with heavy engage, or that it is hard to consistently get that poke off against, like the Thresh, like the Nautilus, or in this case, Lulu and Yuumi, it's better to just go Relic Shield and stack up that gold.
Well, so far into the early game, as we look around the jungle and whatnot, Spica and Akaadian tied in camps cleared as Akaadian runs over to the top-hand side and looks to steal things away. The most common Trundle clear path, by the way, is do your entire jungle minus Krugs and then show up and fight for a Scuttle. That'll get you to level 4, and you usually win your 1v1s against most of the champions because of stat stealing. That being known, Akaadian knows that the one camp left up when you see 24 camps, or 24 jungle CS overall, is Krugs are up. That's why he's here at 315. That's why I'm going to take this camp from you.
But it looks like he actually lost both Scuttles. So Trundle getting both Scuttles here, you know, actually being up farm on the Nidalee is a really good situation for this Trundle. It does look like they're trying to go up here on this top side. We'll see if they can land a spear, but nothing's happening. Nice sidestep from Broken Blade.
Yeah, sidesteps the one, and okay, gets some trade back, gets electrocute damage. Broken Blade will lose a couple hundred HP as a result of this one, but it's mostly trying to help Viper shove the wave in. He wants to recall. There's the rest of it, and hey, at the end of the day, they both burned their potion. The CS count's going to be pretty equal across the two of them, and Viper gets first recall, so even though Broken Blade's laning looks really good, he's not really by any metric ahead in this lane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the trading doesn't really matter, you know, unless you can get something from it. You know, winning trades is only good if you can get a CS advantage off of that. We'll see if Froggen can proc Phase Rush and get out.
He's just going to have to burn the flash. His spells were on cooldown, distanced himself for some move speed. I believe his Q was down just by poking Bjergsen. And the day that is Summoner down, and it's, yeah, Froggen forced to recall at a time that maybe he didn't want. We're going to see if he's able to go for last chapter. I believe it's not enough CS 35 to get that item, although he is waiting in base, and as the TP comes in, yeah, it's buy a Doran's Ring, buy an Amped Tome, buy some consumables, and yeah, he's about 300 gold short of getting, you know, the first big power spike if he wanted to.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he does prioritize them the double Dorans instead of kind of just the pieces of that lost chapter. You know, clearly wanting the most power now, still feeling like he does need to go towards that. You can see Bjergsen is going to be going for the tier build here. But this is something kind of similar to when you see Ezreal just grab Sheen before the tier. You know, he's actually just, you know, grabbing pickaxe for some of that early power. And, oh my God, Viper.
All in. Broken Blade with the item lead. He was level 5. Broken Blade hadn't bought any items. The damage just wasn't there. Opts into the tower dive, and it completely blows up in his face.
Did he just not use his W there? Like, he had a lot of passive shield. I'm not sure if it was still on cooldown, but even
he might have misjudged by one auto. He might have misjudged by one auto, right? Of just like, okay, I'm going to pull you in, I'm going to punch twice, I'm going to Q, I'm going to punch twice, and then W, and oops. Slightly too much damage. We'll watch the replay, I guess.
I mean, the towers just do so much damage early on, especially when you haven't bought any HP or armor. You are going to get absolutely roasted by those turrets, and that is a big mistake, honestly, from Viper. To die like that without TP, you know, can be a pretty rough situation. Thankfully for him, at least, he did have the wave shoved out, so he will be able to get back in time and actually collect this, and I seeing a little bit of a collapse here onto Akaadian. Could be trouble.
Couple of knockouts forcing Akaadian's flash away, and there's a shockwave forcing Spica to get out. Still got to point out Spica's got 2 flashes for 1 based in his gank so far. Akaadian's on the chase. can't land the javelin. Thumbs up, buddy. Nice try, but my reflexes are still good. Gonna get away from that one.
Yeah, good little sidestep there from Spica. And, you know, it is flash for flash, but they get Froggen's ultimate too, so still beneficial for TSM. And, you know, good to make that gank happen there. And you can see he's also gone Chilling Smite, so trying to have a little bit more of that early pressure and some nice poke down on the Johnsun. And this is critical because Johnsun already used his early TP. Normally that's not such a big deal if he's just going to TP right back in the lane, but any more poke means he's going to have to take a really bad base timer, which could put Doublelift pretty far ahead in farm or in plates or even both.
Yeah, I understand why you go for that trade. You landed the W. It's going to be a bunch of bonus damage. You're almost under your turrets. They can't take a long cut against you. But the problem is, yeah, that's part of it. And it was tier to BF sword. You just don't win that trade. Double from Biofrost easily answer back. And that's going to be a lick that Johnsun has to take a long time to heal from. It's going to be rough.
It is a really tough situation because, yeah, really any more poke is going to send him back to base and is going to put this bot lane very heavily in the favor of TSM. You know, as you said, that BF sword buy is always ideal, especially, you know, to have that against the tier. Johnsun is going more for the scaling. He went tier cull, right? So this is very low amount of power for that gold, especially when compared to the BF. You know, he didn't go for something like a Sheen to be able to get those early trades. Yeah. But they can clear out the wave. We'll see how much Doublelift can actually get, if he can shove this back in very quickly, or if he's just going to look more for a freeze and try to take an advantage there. But TSM's bot lane is doing very well as expected. This is an advantageous matchup for them. They're up 2 waves, they're up 2 plates, and things looking really, really good on that bottom side.
Items partially equalized as Johnsun takes his second recall in as many minutes roughly, and gets the pickaxe for himself, but it means, yes, the wave is shoved in. Yes, it means he's going to lose maybe 2 or 3 melee minions as a result of this one. As Doublelift recalls, it gets another great, you know, item timing in the Warhammer coming down, so it is Essence Reaver crit.
Flash.
Here comes the dive in. Shockwave is going to pull Bjergsen. He's got some move speed, and the damage just barely. aphromoo is there, but Spica's ultimate claims the kill. The D-Gen is there. And that is a point on the board for TSM's jungler.
Yeah, that is actually a great gank. I love that Biofrost just didn't base at the same time as Doublelift there. Instead, he makes the roam on Yuumi. Not a champion you expect to be able to pull something like that off. And just groups up with Bjergsen, who had the package. They know Froggen didn't have the flash from earlier, and they're able to punish that. They get the kill, despite the really good game sense from aphromoo to actually match that pressure to be mid lane at that timing. Lands the heal and the shield. It's just still not enough. And Johnsun ended up actually missing, you know, most of that entire wave. So as Doublelift picks up the farm that's going to push to him, he's going to be very far ahead. Mid lane is now ahead, and, you know, things looking really good in these early minutes for TSM.
Just off from landing that stun is Viper, and that means a lot of punishment comes back his way. Gets the punch, gets the shield, but Broken Blade feeling comfortable in this lane. Still got to point out, even despite killing himself, Viper is, for now, up in farm. For top lane, not yet a disaster. Want to kind of bring that one up because optically it looks so much in Broken Blade's way. Here comes the fight to the bottom side. aphromoo does have a flash, but doesn't have a reason to use it. The self-ult's not going to keep him alive, and Doublelift now on the board as well. Johnsun forced to run, still slowed, forced to flash. Bullet time over the top. He's at 5 HP and just barely walks away with his life.
Very lucky to survive there, but now the Rift Herald's down. That's going to be first turret. I would like to see Spica and Biofrost just leave. Just give this to Doublelift, but they are going to actually share the gold. Can't say I love that. I just think it's so much better to get that gold on MF instead of a tank Trundle or a Yuumi to really get Doublelift kind of accelerated ahead, you know, with those early items. But that being said, still very good for TSM. They're up over 3,000 gold here, only 10 minutes in with that first turret down. Really punishing this bot lane, utilizing that advantageous matchup. And this is what TSM fans were hoping to see with the return of Doublelift, to have that winning 2v2 on the bot lane, to be able to play through that lane more heavily than they were able to last split.
Yeah. And credit where it's due to Spica. This is a complete 180 from game 1 of the split. He's actually managed to gank all 3 lanes. The top lane one wasn't huge, but it was at least a little bit useful. It forced an early TP, or at least an early recall out of Viper. He got 2 ganks in the mid lane. The first burned the flash, the second got the kill. His 1 gank in bottom lane got him a kill, and it shoved the Herald down and knocked down first turret. He's been everywhere. He's been close in farm to a Nidalee who hasn't been ganking, at least not successfully, and credit where it's due. Spica's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, he started with the double scuttle, too. He really has been kind of out-jungling Akaadian here, and we talked about how Nidalee wants to be this power farmer, wants to be stealing away camps from Trundle, wants to be, you know, really accelerating kind of the pace of the game in that way, and it has not been what has happened whatsoever. And you know, with Trundle at this point, with jungle item completed and a null on top of that, you can't even really bully the Trundle whatsoever anymore. So, you know, Akaadian is now going to be kind of relegated to that spear and heal duty in a lot of these fights, unless it is kind of more smaller scale. So TSM moving up towards this top side, trying to pressure the turret. You can see the same thing is being mashed down on that bottom side by Dignitas. Yep. But TSM is already ahead of the pace a bit because they're already knocked down that bottom turret.
Yeah, the full extra turret lead is obviously nice. Here comes a fight down on the bottom side. Broken Blade in a 1v2. Polymorph tries to find some knockups. Flashes to get away from this one. And Akaadian is on the flash follow, but the third Q is available. Gets a knockup for 500 damage, and Akaadian burn a summoner for nothing.
Yeah, I think that they should have just taken that flash. I mean, Broken Blade honestly shouldn't have even been in the area, knowing that there was so many members from Dig, but I do think he was trying to just steal away a camp from his own jungle. It sounds a little bit funny, but when you don't own that side of the map, that's basically what you are doing. Did have to flash a retreat, but since Akaadian had to flash in afterwards, well, didn't have to, chose to, it's honestly not so bad for Broken Blade.
End of the day, the outside turrets do get traded. Yes, flash for flash means it's kind of a moot point down there as we watch Viper clearing some jungle and sitting around looking at wards, just making sure nothing's going too badly down there. I guess that's fine. Look at the game state overall. 2,500 gold lead to TSM, which is what 3 kills in a turret and some extra farm and a few rolls will do for you. Akaadian is up in camps overall. He did manage to clear his jungle again recently and, you know, sits at a decent CS lead, but I'd be surprised if he was ahead in gold based on the fact that, you know, Spica shared in a couple of kills and shared in some turret gold as well.
Johnsun at least has gotten some of those critical items. You know, he's getting to a point where he can do some damage. You know, he's not just stuck on the tier Cull now. You know, Cull getting close to cashing out. You know, he's working towards that Orianna. He obviously is trying to stack that up. He does have his Sheen and his Lucidity boots. This has become very, very common as kind of this build path, and just rush to stack up your tier item as fast as possible. Start picking up CDR to help with that even more so, and we'll see how he can perform in these fights, because I do think that there is a lot of pressure on this young marksman player to perform with this team comp, especially now that Nidalee is not ahead. You have Lulu, Nidalee, Ori, you know, a lot of these champions that can provide some defensive utility, which is going to be well used on Johnsun, as long as he is comfortable to play aggressive, to make the most of that. You can't just see this guy sitting max range and pressing Qs. You got to be shifting in. You got to be able to play aggressive in a situation where you have that much support.
Yep, no way you break down the Trundle and the Aatrox by just Mystic Shotting on cooldown. It's not going to be enough. Cole's going to complete in 5 CS. He is also going, actually I'm not sure yet if he is going for the Triforce or the Iceborne Gauntlet yet based on his item build.
I think Triforce would be much better this game. You have
I
a
agree.
lot of you know, defense already from your squad. You need the damage, and as we were just talking about, you need to be auto-attacking. So the attack speed on Triforce is pretty important.
Yeah, it's more raw ID as well, which is beneficial. I could, I guess, make the case that, oh, you're going to kite them. They have a lot of walk at you. There's only really one good blink on the squad, which is the Corki W. Otherwise, like, oh, if we can chain slow them, we can kite and throw javelins and use Ori poke. Like, there's a case. I don't agree with it, but there's at least like a play style where Iceborne would work. Regardless, Broken Blade just, aggressively into the opposing jungle, and ooh, he managed to give Johnsun the slip. Gets to take a recall. He's surrounded. Akaadian. Oh no, this is bad for Broken Blade, and that is half his health bar instantaneously. Shield comes on, pulled back in, it forces the shockwave, but a kill is a kill all the same. Dignitas finally on the board as the mid lane turret falls.
Yeah, they lose their mid lane turret though, and Doublelift is going to kill the top lane turret. So despite the fact that they get a kill, you know, we saw Broken Blade get enough time bought for his team to knock down those 2 towers. So it still does go the way of TSM as far as the advantage there.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for TSM. You can see, though, the gold is staying at 2,500 to keep that one marked in my head. TSM, though, on 2 Drakes, and it feels like they're comfortable to go for the 3rd. That said, Doublelift's recall is a little bit late, but he's going to burn Teleport to get back in time so that they can fight for it. The Drake is spawning in 2 seconds. This would be TSM's 3rd Drake, putting them on Ocean Soul Point. They got the first one really early. They're still ready to keep stacking up. They're on the map. Froggen still walking over. If this gets pushed down right away, he can't be in the fight.
Johnsun has bought the Iceborne, so I wonder if it was just about that power spike for this fight. If they think this is a critical dragon, he does have those 2 items now, and we'll see if he can get anything done, but the dragon's going down very fast. It will be about the smite.
And it's not going to be in range. Akaadian never cheats forward, doesn't go. His smite was down, to be fair. Feels weird that he even burned smite in the last minute and a half.
Yeah.
No one the Drake timer. Regardless, unlikely steal, can't do it anyway. No shockwave burn to either. TSM on Soul Point. We know 4.5 minutes until Ocean Soul is available. 3.5 to this Baron spawns, and TSM remain at this 2,500 gold lead. Now Froggen's got to be careful, has to flash away from the Yuumi ultimate, stays alive.
Spica giving him the thumbs up on that flash out there, and it's especially difficult, I think, when you are playing a poke comp and your opponents do get the Ocean Soul. Ocean Soul always feels like the most difficult to deal with for me, and it almost feels like it's just completely doomed if you're playing poke and your opponents do get that, because it becomes so easy for them to actually heal through the Nidalee spears, the Ezreal poke. So they really have got to stop this next dragon, and TSM is in a strong spot right now. It's going to be about how strong can these teams get in the next 4 minutes, who is able to kind of set up around that dragon and get the first look at it, because if Dignitas can get first to that spot and have vision set up and TSM has to enter through all that poke, that can be a situation that Dignitas can win. But if you are the ones as this poke comp trying to face check in, it becomes so damn hard to actually get in there and do something before TSM could just rush down the dragon as they did this time.
Well, for now, they're just trading farm away, but TSM's happy to kind of wait for a little while, right? As long as they can get the vision control to be decent, they've got all these objectives they can go for. Triforce done for the Corki. Manamune still stacking up for both of the mana stacks, so one on each side there. The Ezreal and the Corki is... it is not going to be what looks to be the Athene's build out of the Nidalee, though this is a nice shot by Spica, finds a stun, forces the aphromoo flash to come out, and they continue to look pretty good down here as they're going to push to the bottom side as they look for the next big play. This is going to be an open turret as Viper's around, but there's not a lot of defensive resources near him. He's going to walk away, the turret's going to fall. TSM 5-1 in turrets.
That's just a really nice move. They have already Broken Blade down on that bottom side. Bjergsen was around mid lane. They knew that Orianna is top, so they know they can safely move through the jungle, and they're just going to keep pushing because Orianna was still showing on that top side.
They find a stun, but Viper doesn't want to go in with the ulti. They've got, they had no jungler, no mid laner. This is going to be an outnumbered fight, 3 versus 4. Can't take the battle. Gonna get some CC and walk away. And now as the chalice comes through, it is Athene's after all for Akaadian. I know the Codex builds into it, but my mind just couldn't get myself off of the Zhonya's Hourglass, the possibility, so we could dive in and not get killed. But is going to be the more supportive backline side. So as you were mentioning, as we were alluding to, kind of the entire time since Champ Select, it's a lot of support for the Ezreal. Johnsun has decent farm, but just isn't the champion that you really put these resources into. This is some poke. Mid lane under fire. Turret number 6 almost on the board, but Spica is dropped so low. He dives in, but the heals are there, and now he's got to flash it away. Bullet time plus the root, and the second Johnsun goes forward, he is slapped back down. The chase and the shockwave buys some time. Viper walks in, and for the second time in a row, cannot put up his shield before being killed. Nothing doing there. A 2-for-0 to TSM.
Yeah, Johnsun tried to go for that hero play. He got Spica down very low, looks for the aggressive shift, but he just got absolutely murdered when he went in there. They couldn't actually get the wild growth on. I'm not sure if that was on cooldown, but I don't think so from aphromoo, and they weren't able to keep him alive. And with him falling there, so much of their comp is reliant on him. Spica was getting very aggressive, looking for this tower, and you can see Johnsun starting to get a lot of autos off on him. He had the executioners. He's like, all right, I can get this kill. He shifts in. He doesn't get the kill, misses the Mystic shot, and then you are trying to jump away, but you're getting Yuumi ulted, rooted up, and once that root is landing with the MF ultimate coming over the top, there's just way too much damage in there, as you talked about. Viper just getting exploded. He's going towards the Bladed Rune King. He didn't even have it complete in that last build. And when you're going for these kind of split push-esque builds, you're so squishy in the team fight. Bork plus Executioners is so much gold for no defensive stats whatsoever. There's no health, there's no resistances in that. And when you show up to that 5v5, if you are not ahead, you are just going to be paper.
Yep, and paper he was. He was completely destroyed right there. They just cut through him, the double marksman. You don't have to worry about bonus armor in most cases. Obviously, Corki dealing magic can, for the most part, ignore Ninja Tabby. And Muramana completes now. So power spikes in on both sides, but the gold lead has grown. It's doubled. It's now 5,000. TSM 25 seconds from Ocean Soul. Spica gets the shields, walks backward, pulled back in. Viper finally finds the dunk and gets a kill on the board. Akaadian gets the kill credit, and it's time for TSM to back out 4v5. But will they actually? They're feeling comfortable. Broken Blade with the Yuumi on top. She tanks the Javelin. Bot lane is cleared. Dignitas, I feel like, must take this fight. They cannot give Ocean Soul, especially in a 5v4.
I mean, what was Spica doing? He just wandered into their jungle. This is almost a guaranteed teamfight win if they're just together in a 5v5. You're 5,000 plus gold ahead. Both your marksmen are so incredibly strong. I think he even blast coned, you know, not back into the pit. Bjergsen's still going to look for this because they want to try to get this Ocean Soul. They do have package, they do have Doublelift, and they're going in.
That's some decent damage. Johnsun gets to lead it off the map, and Akaadian is next. The flash doesn't matter. Viper gets the shield, but he drops as well. A triple kill for Bjergsen.
Oh, this could
the
be a
Ocean
penta.
Soul for him as well. Can he get all 5? They're going to try to run away. He's going to flash to follow. One more shot. Biofrost with the Airy picks up the 4th kill of the battle, and Bjergsen is on the chase. There is the ace coming through. I feel bad for him that the Keystone took the 4th, but the Bud Light ace for TSM, ready to get back onto the board. Bjergsen doing all the heavy lifting.
9x this cat. Biofrost stole the penta from Bjergsen after the hero package through. They get the Ocean Soul. They're going to get the Baron. Spica just on the sidelines cheering his team on after he ended that one away, but TSM in full control. This game is theirs, and this is exactly what TSM fans were hoping to see with the return of Doublelift. They are dominating Dignitas in their second game of the summer split.
TSM playing aggressively is something they needed kind of all year long, and opting into a 4v5, that's confidence.
Yeah, they knew they were at such a strong point, though. Bjergsen is at 2.5 items. Doublelift was at 2.5 items. Bjergsen finding Johnsun, gets the perfect angle right in on top of him, absolutely destroys him. And then moving forward, targeting down Akaadian, flashes out, but the auto was already following him. Viper next to fall. They secure the dragon, and then Bjergsen on the chase here, had the triple, could see the penta, could taste the penta, but the cat steals it away. And he doesn't even get the quadra because the kill timer wasn't extended since he didn't get that one. We'll give him the unofficial quadra on that one. But yeah. Bjergsen completely taking over that fight. Now on 3 items, Death Stance completed. He's going to be unstoppable with the Yuumi in his back pocket.
I gotta say, LCS been spicy so far in the summer split. On day 2, we got a perfect game. We almost got a penta on day 3. We got a lot going on here. TSM looking to push down middle as the inhibitor turret is gone. The inhibitor is soon to follow. And good luck facing any team fight ever with low damage, with no frontline, down 7,000 gold against Ocean Soul and Baron buff.
There's no way for them to win, you know, barring like absolute trolling from TSM. There's just no realistic situation in which you can win. It pretty much is completely reliant now on TSM making enormous mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and then you getting Elder. That's like your real win condition at this point, because with the Ocean Soul completed, 4 dragons to 0, you can't poke them out, you can't win a concerted fight, you really can't even win a lot of 2v1s, and you don't have very good wave clear with this Ezreal, you know, for multiple lanes, and the Baron Bush push, so it's going to be really, really tough. Orianna's matching up to that top side, but that means the bottom lane could just push in here with Doublelift.
And there's going to be bottom lane under fire at 2/3, but they're not going to play too aggressively. They're waiting around as Viper comes in for the play. He's got to go for it now. Ult's going to come down. They find Spica for some damage. He burns his stopwatch, pops the ulti, and Viper has to put up the shield. Summoner heal comes out. Spica walks away, stays alive.
Bjergsen's
that
on the Nexus
engage
turrets.
Was a nice try, but yes, Bjergsen is knocking down the Nexus. TSM forced to retreat in a 4v5. As the first turret falls, the inhibitor is opened as well. The second Nexus turret, they're just padding all the stats, getting every neutral and enemy objective they possibly can, adding more to the scoreboard. 10 kills, 10 turrets, and looking at a win in this game as well. A 1-1 scoreline for TSM as they're going to knock down the Nexus. Another 25-minute victory. TSM hoping to make this a consistent situation, crushing their opponents in this game. Dignitas is going to fall, retreat, and die as a double kill comes through for Double at the very end, and the synchronous TSM Evo.